and I'm from Kossuth County, and my presentation today is titled Candy or Is It? The goal of this presentation, it was kind of a study to see whether kids like kindergarten or preschool students could tell the difference between commonly used medicines versus candies. So the first thing that I did was I met with a local pharmacist and I examined over-the-counter medicines and tried to match them with candies that I thought the kids would get confused. I prepared them in bubble packs so that when I showed them to the kids couldn't touch and try and like grab and eat them while I wasn't looking. It was then a key was typed using the number of the card and the number of the bubble. I also did put the bubbles on construction paper covered cardboard pieces because the back could be ripped open and I didn't want the kids to get a hold of the medicines. After the key was done, I asked permission from the principal of the school if I could use the classrooms to do the study. I then asked the teachers to hand out parental consent forms that I made, and I can also pass the parental consent form around along with the testing sheet that I used. After the parental consent form was to see if the parents wanted their kids to be used for the study. The kids weren't touching anything or anything like that. It was just a safety thing that the principal wanted me to do. If the kid did not return the parental consent form, I didn't let them do the study. Each individual child was tested because I didn't want them to feed off of each other's answers. So when I tested them, I got a corner of the classroom or a space out in the hall and took each individual child. I recorded each of their answers for each of the medications. I held up each of the cards and asked, is this candy or medicine? And you can see at the pictures on there where I tested the students. You can also see a couple of the cards, close above the cards. I can also pass around this page that shows all the different pairs of candies and medicines, and you can see if you could have told the difference. I then tallied all the results from the different kids, and I put them in graphs, and I also took the averages and put them on pie graphs. As you can see from the averages, the kindergarten had 61% identified the medicine as candy. In the preschool, 56% identified the medicine as candy. And overall, 59% of the kids identified the medicine as candy. And this is a big problem because of the fact that I also did research on each one of the medications that I used. I figured out that iron poisoning is actually the most common accidental poisoning in children, and I also figured out that one of my medications that I use has no known overdose side effects, and that is my acid gas because its main ingredient is simethicone, and simethicone has no known overdose side effects. And so if I would do this project in the future, I'd want to talk to drug companies to see what they could do to educate the public about this, because right now they're not helping anything. They're making their medicines look more like candies so that the parents can get their kids to take it easier. But like I said, this is a big problem because then that causes the kids to want to overdose on it, and that can cause sickness or even death in some cases. And I forgot to mention this, but how I got interested in this topic is my little sister is a kindergartner, and she constantly wants to overdose on chewable vitamins, and my mom has to put them up. And so when you're dealing with medications, you always want to make sure that you keep them in their original packaging, and also keep the child food lock on them. Are there any questions?
One of the keys here is that I expect all of you to ask questions. Okay.
What is some candies that you compare to your medications?
The question was what was some of the candies that I compared to my medications. I did 14 pairs, and the Benadryl was compared with the Pez candies, the iron tablet was with the green M&M, the gummy bites were with the gummy bear, the antacid tablets were with the Smarties, the myacid gas was with a Altoid mint, the laxative pills was with a mini blue M&M, the Alka-Seltzer plus cold and cough was with a purple jelly bean, the aspirin was with an Altoid mint as well, and the Tababite with iron was with an orange mini M&M, and the Soothbed congestion was with a Red Hot. The Advil was with a red M&M, and the Pepto-Bismol tablet was with a Good Plenty, and the Viactive calcium was compared with a caramel. Are there any other questions? Yes?
Did you find any companies that really did a good job of making that differentiation between candy and...
The question was that I find any drug companies that did a good job of making the medicines not look like candy. I didn't talk to any, but I noticed that this one and some other ones you'll notice are starting to look like candies. Like you can see how the gummy bite is like a gummy bear, and they're making it, even like candy, like gummy. And I just wanted to, if I would do this project again, I wanted to talk to them about what they could do to not make it look like candy and just educate the public on how big a problem this was. If I would do it again also, I kind of like to test older kids and adults just to see if they could tell the difference.
Mariah, what was your original hypothesis?
I thought that the kids would have a hard time discerning the difference because when I first started this, even I couldn't tell the difference between some of them. But as I worked more, I could just because I worked with them so much. But even I couldn't, so I thought that they would have a hard time with it.
So you found a difference, 61%, 56%. Is that a statistically significant difference?
The question was how the pre-K and the kindergarten percentages are one is 61 and the other incorrect amount is 56. And he asked if that was a significant difference. I found it interesting that when I went up one grade, it got a little bit better. That's another reason why I wanted to keep testing the older kids, because I wanted to see if it kept going up. But I don't know. I also want to test more kids to see if that really was a significant difference. I tested about 60 kids in that area, and if I would do it again, I'd also like to test more, just to get a better average of if that was.
So is there one particular medicine that's almost identical?
The active calcium, the kids had they called the Viactive calcium caramel because if you look on the card, it looks exactly like caramel. The only way I can tell the difference is the Viactive calcium is a little bit lighter colored. But yeah, it even comes in, it's actually packed like a caramel too. It just says Viactive calcium on as it's wrapped. And so that's the worst one that the kids got wrong because it is very hard to tell the difference between them.
Any other questions? You can't let her off this easy.
Thank you.